So we are on box 5 of 6, the penultimate box. This is to construct the scissor doors. You can see right here. So far I have spent, I reckon, between 10 and 10 and a half hours on construction. Nearer 10 and a half, it might even be 11 to be honest. The last section, so this is what we've got for the noise, for scissors doors. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bags just for the scissor doors. 11 hours so far, I think. I'll show you where we're at so far. So this is it at the moment. The last section, the last box, sorry, consisted of essentially the rear spoiler, the rear light clusters, and the detachable, call it a bonnet, even though it's at the back. I'm not quite sure what you call it. The engine cover, which just lifts off like that. It's got a nice touch here, which is the flag of Italy, Italian colours on there. That's the engine cover. And then inside you've got obviously the engine bay itself. We're starting to put into place some of the body structure. So we've got the wheel arches here. We've got some of the sort of side skirting panels here. Seats are in, obviously. This, I don't know if you can see this, but this is the mechanism on which the scissor doors is going to attach ultimately. So that's ready to move and take the doors up and down. We've got things like the fuel tank, nice details here. You've got the tension struts to support the engine block here to decrease vibration. And essentially underneath you've got a fully functioning gearbox. I won't try and turn too much, but you can kind of see the cogs turning there. If I turn that, and I assume as I turn the wheels once they're on, that you'll get a lot of movement going on in there. There's a functioning gear lever inside that changes it from reverse to neutral to forward. Obviously you've got the working steering, you've got the spring suspension front and rear. So yeah, all in all, it's so far great. It's exhausting. It's really exhausting. And the last section, particularly on these tail lights, was challenging because I don't know if you can see or not, but you get these basically, which are like little sort of rubberized bits, and there are 3 different lengths. There's small, medium, and large, and it doesn't tell you as you go through which length to use, small, medium, or large. So there's a degree of hit and miss. So for example, these 2 here, there's 2 small ones there. These are large, these are medium. So there's a degree of kind of trial and error there to get that right. The other thing that's a challenge is the sheer size of it. It's actually quite heavy. Obviously it's not completed yet, and it's quite big. You know, it's a big old model. So when you're over here and you're constructing, your little bits, that's fine. But then when you come to actually put them onto the main model, it can be quite challenging. You know, you've got to hold this pretty much in one hand. It's fine if you can do it on the floor, but sometimes you can't. You have to hold this up. You're holding this bit in the other hand, and you have to try and line up the various holes, receptors with the bits that go into them, and lock them in place. So more than one occasion I've picked this up and I've knocked a bit off or something, which is a bit frustrating. But I guess that's just getting used to something this size. I've made one mistake so far. I don't know if you can see or not, but in here above the headrest, you've got the Lamborghini emblazoned headrest here. Just above that is an angled piece, and it's got 4 holes at the top, 5 holes at the bottom. And on one side I did it correctly, 5 holes at the bottom, 4 at the top. On the other side I put it in upside down, 4 at the bottom, 5 at the top. So it was at a slightly different raked angle. And I didn't realise until about 30 steps further down the line, when I came to put the roof on, that I had made this almighty cock up. So I then had to unpick about 30 steps, 25 steps, to get that bit out, because obviously once it's in, you're then building around it. And that was a real ball ache. It took me a long time to pull that apart. I needed a knife to get in, because some of the pieces, once you've clipped them together, it's actually quite difficult to get them apart again. But yeah, I did it in the end. Anyway, so that's where we're at so far. Looking really fab. I love the way they've done the rear light clusters with these red pieces. I think that looks really effective. You've got 2 Mahusive exhausts coming out there. I'm assuming that's going to have some finishing work done to it for completion's sake. But yeah, essentially I'm really pleased with it so far, and I reckon even allowing for the reversal of some of the steps that I had to make earlier, I probably spent at least 10.5 to 11 hours on it so far. It's very tiring, but it's geared me up for my next big project, which, fingers crossed, is going to be the Imperial Star Destroyer, which is about 3 times the size of that. So watch this space.